Without the performance of austerities, nothing worthwhile in this world can ever be accomplished. In the Vedic heritage, austerities are called tapasya, and Bharatvarsh is referred to as Tapobhumi, the land where austerity has always been cherished and revered. In the Mahabharata is the story of Yudhishthir Maharaj when he performed the Rajasuya Yajna in Indraprastha. It is said the yajna was so lavish that every day he would feed 10,000 Brahmins on golden plates and let them take away the plates after the meal. However, after a few days of the yajna, the Pandavas were sitting around Lord Krishna and they saw a squirrel enter the yajna mandap. One side of the squirrel was golden. It began jumping on the other side. After 5-6 vain attempts, the squirrel exclaimed, "Dhik yajnam, fie upon this yajna," and began walking away. Bhimsen was so annoyed he lifted up his mace to smash the squirrel. Lord Krishna said, "Bhim, first find out why did the squirrel say that?" The squirrel began sharing its story. It related that a few years ago, it used to reside on a tree in a village close to Indraprastha. And there, under the tree was the hut of a poor Brahmin family. That family was so poor that when grain was harvested in the fields, the few grains that remained on the ground after the harvest, they would search for those and some subsist off them. However, once for a few years there was famine in the land, and for many days this family was famished. The father one day managed to get rations from somewhere, and a meal was cooked for the father, mother, son, and daughter-in-law. When they were about to partake of it, a guest arrived. He said, "Sirs, I am so hungry. Can you please give me something to eat?" The Brahmin told his wife, "Give my portion to him. I will fast today." That visitor was satiated and he departed. Now the mother and the two son and daughter-in-law sat to eat. In the meantime, a second traveler arrived. The mother said, "Never mind, I will take inspiration from my husband." And she fed her portion to that traveler, who left satisfied. Before the son and his wife could take their share, a third traveler arrived, and the son offered his portion to that guest. Finally, there was only enough for the young daughter-in-law when a fourth guest reached. She said, "I should take inspiration from my elders. I have decided I will fast today in favor of feeding our honored guest." The squirrel said, when that Bahu, daughter-in-law, made the sacrifice, although she was so hungry, the celestial gods rejoiced and showered flower petals from the heavens. The squirrel said, "I was present on the scene and I was so delighted that I jumped in ecstasy, and the side of my back on which I fell turned into gold by the power of that family's austerity, tapasya, tyag, sacrifice, yajna. So the squirrel said, only one side of my back was gold. I was looking how to make the other side gold as well. And that was when I came to know that Yudhishthir Maharaj is performing the Rajasuya Yajna. I decided on this fire sacrifice, I will be able to transform my other backside as well. But I attempted again and again. It was futile. That is why I said, Dhik Yajnam. This sacrifice cannot compare with the sacrifice performed by the poor family residing outside of Indraprastha. Having said that, the squirrel walked away. The Pandavas were silenced. Yudhishthir asked Shri Krishna, Maharaj, where did we fall short in the performance of this sacrifice? Lord Krishna said, Yudhishthir, you did this sacrifice with money that you collected from others, with what you gathered from other kings as well. The poor family sacrificed the food needed to satiate their hunger. There is no comparison. This story is there in the Mahabharata to inspire us to look on sacrifice as something glorious and to be cherished. People often ask the question, Swamiji, how do we know how far we have progressed in our spiritual journey? When somebody travels, there are milestones that enable us to know how much distance has been covered. What are the milestones in our spiritual progress? Well, progress doesn't necessarily get measured by an improvement in our external circumstances. The sign of progress is that even though circumstances may be negative, we are able to remain positive. So what is progress? When there is a reason to become angry, but you are still calm. When there is a reason to be envious, but you are free from it. When there is cause for pride to arise, yet you remain humble. Where there is a reason for attachment, and yet you are detached. That indicates our spiritual power is increasing, and these are the symptoms of it. To remain positive even in the midst of negativity. There's an apocryphal story related about Jagadguru Shankaracharya. A scholar of Kashi came to him and said, Jagadguruji, please make me your disciple. Shankaracharya looked at him. Being a powerful saint, he could see his mind. And he said, but you are not eligible, you are not qualified. The scholar said, I am not qualified. Engage in Shastrarth, scriptural debate with me, and you will get to know my competence. Shankaracharya said, I will engage in Shastrarth with that person who knows the meaning of Shastra. The scholar said, what? I don't know the meaning of Shastra. Shankaracharya said, if you did, it would have made you humble. Vidya dadati vinayam. And you are saying with pride, engage in Shastrarth, you wish to make me your guru and also debate with me. The scholar realized he had a bespoiled antahkaran, an impure heart. And he said, Maharaj, how will I become eligible to be your disciple? Shankaracharya said, go and do Sri Krishna Bhakti. Go to Braj. Do the parikrama of Govardhan every day. Don't look at people. Eat by begging. With every breath, chant the name Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, and your antahkaran will get purified. The scholar obeyed. He went to Braj Mandal, did the sadhana as he was told, and after a year he was coming back. Shankaracharya saw him from afar and thought, Panditji is returning. Let me see how far his sadhana has progressed. There was a lady sweeping the floor. He called the sweepress and said, look, you see that Pandit coming? Do one thing. When he reaches close, just sweep some dust onto him. She said, he will beat me up. Don't worry, I will reward you for it, a rupee. She said, all right then. She continued speaking. The moment the scholar was close enough, she pushed the dirt onto him. Sorry. That Panditji, he became Aag Babula. His eyes were red with fury. Are you blind? Can you not see? She started laughing. She knew he would become angry. Panditji proceeded to Shankaracharya. Maharaj, as per your instructions, I have done sadhana for 1 year. Shankaracharya said, you are literally eating people alive and you have done sadhana? The heart is still impure. Go and do sadhana again for another year. That scholar obeyed. He returned. He continued with his austerities and his practice. And then at the end of the year, he started returning. Shankaracharya saw him and he called the sweepress and said, Panditji is coming again. This time he has become elevated. Pushing dust onto him will not agitate him. To evoke a response, we will need to do something more severe. Take the broom and hit him with it. The sweepress said, will I get my rupee? You will. All right then. She continued sweeping. When Panditji came close, she lifted a broom and put it on his dress. Panditji again became agitated. However, because he had now elevated himself, he controlled the external outburst of fury. But inside he was growling. And Shankaracharya was a Samar Sant. He could see the inside. When the Pandit came to him, Maharaj, I have done sadhana again for a year. Shankaracharya said, no, you growl from within. Go and do sadhana yet again. He returned. He tightened his belt. If I make a guru, it will be him and nobody else. So his dedication bore results. After a year, he started coming back again. Shankaracharya saw him from afar and called the sweepress, said, this time the matter is really serious. This Pandit's heart is clear. Even hitting him with a broom will not evoke any fury. Take your garbage basket and empty it on his head. The sweepress said, he will kill me. Will I get a reward? Shankaracharya said, this time it will be 10 rupees. She said, all right then, it's worth the effort. As Panditji came close, the sweepress lifted the garbage basket and swaha placed it on his head. However, now Panditji was param shant, completely peaceful. He folded his hands and said, Ma, you are my Pratham Guru. O mother, I had a terrible defect inside me, that of anger. You have been responsible for eradicating it. Look what a difference. As he did sadhana, his perspective towards the world changed. As the saying goes, drishti badalne se srishti badalti hai. The world is the same for all of us, but by virtue of our sadhana, our vision towards it changes. Now in adversity, he was looking at opportunities for further purification. That was the sign of true progress. Not that there was no negativity around, but despite it, he was able to remain positive. Shankaracharya came running. Come, my child, you are now eligible. Listen to philosophy from me. So if you wish to know how far you have progressed, remember, despite a reason for pride, when you are free from it, despite a reason for attachment, when you are free from it, that is the sign of real progress. Not that we have run away from the world. Then where is the opportunity to measure our progress?